Permanent Ink by Maxine on AO3. Chapter 24. They were patrolling during their early shift one morning in late July when Katsuki's phone started buzzing in his pocket. It had been a slow day to start, thus far blissfully absent of any major accidents. The summer heat had almost settled heavily over the area, despite the near pre-dawn hour may have been something to do with that. It was a sort of sleepy morning. Katsuki would expected more from his old neighborhood back in Matsui than from a major city like this one. It meant they were actually able to pause for a moment to grab food from one of the many convenience stores littering the streets, at least, which was always a welcoming break in the day. Katsuki was crouched on a rooftop, half-eaten orangey in one hand, when the text message started jostling in. Shitty hair. Happy birthday, Mina! Pikachu. Is it time? It's fucking time! What's up? Deku asked, sitting beside him with leg dangling off the side of the roof. Todoroki was on the other side and glancing over curiously as well. It's Mina's birthday, Katsuki replied, begrudgingly. Well, not actually. Typing out his own quick greeting. Pikachu. Happy birthday! Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Bakugo. Happy birthday. Tape guy. Inquiring minds want to know what your words are. Pikachu. Share, share, share. Tape guy. Also, happy birthday. Shitty hair. Guys. Pikachu. Sorry. Tape guy. He's not sorry. He's sitting here crackling. Shitty hair. Hope you have a good day, Mina. Oh. Deku scrambled to put his own phone out. The class chat? No, but feel free to get it going in there, Katsuki said. He wasn't going to bother. He kept it muted half of the time since his group of losers blew up his phone plenty already, thanks much. Both Deku and Icy Hot began typing away while Katsuki returned to his breakfast. Despite himself, he kept glancing back at his messages, waiting for a response, idly curious and, fuck it, even a little hopeful. Sero's birthday had passed, eventually, 2 days prior. His words, apparently not anything he recognized. This one, though. Did she reply to you guys? Deku asked. After a few moments, he had drifted by. His eyes were glued to the screen. Katsuki glanced at his phone again, in case something had changed in the last 30 seconds. Nah, not yet. There was a small crease between Deku's eyebrows. Katsuki looked past him and noticed Todoroki was frowning. He was scowling a little. What? Aoyama and her couriers said she's not on patrol with them today. Todoroki spoke up. She didn't show up this morning. The fuck? Katsuki pushed his mask up and brought his phone closer to his face, as though he could glare it into coughing up a response from his friend. Unsurprisingly, it didn't work. Pikachu. Mina, you okay? Tape guy. Celebrating with your parents? ? Pikachu. Bet she pulled a me and slept through her alarm. Deserved, to be honest. Birthday sleep-ins are the best sleep-ins. I'm sure she's fine, Deku murmured. He was eyeing Katsuki a bit carefully, and Katsuki forced back the instinctual defense resort that wanted to tear from his throat. She was fine. They would have heard if she wasn't. She shared a work studies with 2 other extras from their class. There was no way they wouldn't know if something had happened to her on the job. None of the girls have heard from her? He found himself asking. Deku looked back up from his phone. No one's heard from her. Probably took the day off, Katsuki said. He stuffed the rest of the orgy in his mouth and stuffed his phone back into his pockets, then stood. Come on, we can't just sit around all day. Kirishima called him about 2 hours later, but Katsuki missed it because he was chasing down some asshole who busted up an electronics store. Catching the guy wasn't much of a challenge, though, and he was already turning himself over to the police by the time Kirishima called again. Katsuki refused to be worried that he called twice in the middle of a workday and quickly pressed the phone to his ear. What? He barked. Have you heard anything? Kirishima asked instinctively, foregoing any type of greeting. Huh? Katsuki ducked into a nearby alleyway and leaned against the wall, taking advantage of the cool shade the tall building around him offered. Heard anything about... Don't... Dude, don't mess with me, Kirishima said. There was something frantic in his tone that was clearly trying to suppress. If you know something... She's gone totally AWOL. Tezu says no one in Class B has heard from her either. So what makes you think I'll know anything? I don't know, Kirishima busted out. Why isn't she answering anyone? Katsuki sighed and tipped his head back, letting it thug off the bridge behind him. He could feel Deku somewhere nearby, probably leaping roof to roof. Did you try her parents? I don't have their number. He sucked in a breath. My mom's probably do. Okay, I'm gonna call them. Oi, Katsuki interrupted. Would you calm the fuck down for a second? You don't want to make them panic. She's missing, Katsuki. I think we should be panicking. Something cold lodged itself into behind Katsuki's ribcage. She's not missing. And you're the one who mentioned her parents. Kirishima, maybe Aizawa-sensei knows something? For fuck's sakes! Katsuki exhaled a deep sigh and rubbed at his nose. It's been like 2 hours. I know, but it's not like her to go all silent. Maybe, he said again, something closer to a groan this time as he closed his eyes. Maybe she didn't like her words, or, I don't know, maybe she just needed some time to herself. It was silent for a moment on the other end of the line. Katsuki swallowed back the guilt. He sure fucking hoped that wasn't the case, but he didn't think Mina was exactly the sort to keep quiet about something if she was happy. I guess Kirishima choked out a strained-sounding laugh. I guess I did get my hopes, up. I was pretty stupid. It wasn't, Katsuki said quickly. No, you're right, shit. She's probably with her soulmate now, and we're all just bugging the crap out of her. Deku dropped down in front of Katsuki suddenly, and Katsuki immediately reached for him, holding his hand out for Deku to take. I really fucking doubt that. It's fine, it's, good for her. Kirishima. I gotta go, dude. Fat Gum's calling me. I'll talk to you later. Wait. He was already gone, though. Katsuki scowled at his phone as Deku stepped in closer, his hands curled gently around Katsuki's. Anything? No, Katsuki said, still frowning. Deku tightened his grip on him. I'm sure she's okay. I know she is. Katsuki was planning on bullheading believing that until it turned out to be true. Hiroshima's got a thing for her, he added after a moment. I guess I don't know. He does? Deku's eyes had gone wide. He looked a little excited. Oh, that's so cool! Katsuki scrawled. It's only cool if her words came for him. Realization dawned on the other boy's face. Ah, I'm sure, well, he drew his bottom lips between his teeth. And hell, that was a little distracting, actually. Katsuki's gaze dropped in to take it in, but it snapped back to attention when Deku spoke again. I hope it works out. Yeah, Katsuki murmured. Same. It's nice that you're rooting for them, Deku grinned, leaning into Katsuki's space. That's why you're so worried, right? I'm not worried, Katsuki lied immediately, but Deku just arched his eyebrows in an annoying way. Okay, Kachan. He pulled back again, still smiling. I'm not either. I feel better now, actually. Katsuki scrunched his face into something kind of inserious glow. The fuck? Why? Because I bet I know where she is. Deku wouldn't say anything else after it, no matter how much Katsuki needed him. He made excuses, said some bullshit thing about how they needed to get back to patrolling. Okay, so that was true. And then he took off for the rooftops. Katsuki blasted after him, and they ended up helping at a scene of a 3-way car accident before they were finally able to break for lunch. Katsuki usually wasn't one to check his phone so much, but he couldn't help it to pull out again to see if there was any updates. He even went poking around the class chat, but the only new messages were from Kaminari and Sero. Apparently, they made a secret thread with just the three of them in it. Both Kirishima and Mina had been left out. Pikachu. Yo, Kirishima is freaking out. Seriously, no one's heard from her? Tape guy. Got nothing, dude. I texted her too. Pikachu. Yeah, same. It's weird, right? Like, should we be worried? Tape guy. I don't think so. Not yet. Bakugo. Aren't you two idiots at the same work study? Are you literally standing next to each other and texting? Pikachu. For your benefits, jeez. Bakugo. Did he call you too? Tape guy. Oh yeah, we had him on speakerphone. Pikachu. Tried to calm him down, but I don't know if it worked. Now he's straight up ignoring us. Bakugo. The fuck? Tape guy. He hasn't replied in a while. Bakugo. Slow day over there, huh? Pikachu. Hey, I took down some jerks who stole a lady's purse. Tape guy. Also took down the power on the entire block, but hey. Pikachu. Explanation mark, explanation mark, explanation mark. Bakugo. ... Lol. Pikachu. Rude. This is betrayal. He didn't need to know that part, Sero. Kachan, this is like the most you've ever panicked in a group chat. Bakugo. Well, shit. Let me stop then. Pikachu. No! Tape guy. Dude, you know you can't call that shit out. Pikachu. I forgot! Bakugo. Anyways, Deku says not to worry. Tape guy. Oh, is he there? Bakugo. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck he thinks he knows, but whatever. Pikachu. Hi, Midoriya! Tape guy. Implying you were worried? Bakugo. Fuck you, was not. He says hi. Tape guy. You so were. Pikachu. I mean, we're all thinking it, right? Like, I just really hope she's got Kirishima's words on her arm. They wrapped up their shift and were to the gym for a late afternoon workout by the time they finally got an update. Somehow, Katsuki had found himself in what he initially assumed was a one-sided pull-up conversation with fucking Icy Hot, but then realized that Todoroki was eyeing him right back and clocking every upward movement he made so he could match it. And now they were both glowing at each other with sore, straining arms as they continuously heaved their bodies up and down in tandem. Deku, who luckily wasn't as stupid as either of them, was watching in full exasperation from the mats below as he did his own cool-down stretches. Kachan, your phone keeps buzzing, he said at some point, right about when Katsuki was sure his arms were going to fall off, and holy shit, would he be regretting this tomorrow? He paused, holding himself with his chin over the pull-up bar, and Katsuki did too. Though this drew down only after a few seconds, and there was visible tremors breaking his arms. Ha! I think it's your group chat. Can I check it? Deku asked. It's locked, Katsuki grumbled. Unless you somehow know my code. He glanced over to Half and Half, meeting his gaze, and in a rare moment of unspoken mutual understanding, they both finally let go and dropped to the floor at the same time. Fucking ow. He could feel his muscles throbbing and winced as he stretched them out over his head. Deku hummed and picked up Katsuki's phone so he could fidget around with it. Oh, he said after like half a second had passed. And how the hell? Oh, Kachan, look! He scrambled to his feet and rushed over, holding the phone out so Katsuki could see the screen. How the fuck did you get into it? Katsuki demanded, swinging it from his arms. All Might's birthday? Deku lifted his eyebrows, amused. Literally my first guess. Oh, right, that was his code. Honestly, he'd said that so long ago he'd forgotten what the numbers had originally meant. Katsuki's cheeks burned, and he huffed before glaring over at Todoroki. I'm changing it now, so don't get any ideas. Todoroki rolled his eyebrows. To Midoriya's birthday this time? He grimaced as he shook out his arms. Why on earth would I want to get into your phone? How should I know? I'm saying you better not try. Kachan, Deku said again, prodding Katsuki's elbow. He was bouncing excitedly. Look at it already. It's from Ashido. Katsuki shot a gaze at his phone. She sent a picture to the group chat. He noticed, and for a long, long moment, he could only stare at it. Huh? He finally said, softly, and a helpless grin threatening to stretch across his face. Deku had his hands pressed to his cheeks and was flushed all over, practically radiating joy. Todoroki leaned over Katsuki's shoulders so he could see too, and Katsuki didn't even bother to try to stop him. Kirishima was in the picture with Mina. His eyes were red-rimmed like he'd been maybe crying, but his smile was about as wide as Katsuki had ever seen it. Mina had her cheeks smushed against his, and her left arm hooked around behind his neck. She was absolutely beaming with her other hand held so that the camera could see the scrawny look across her pink skin. I'm going to be a hero who protects others. Holy shit, Katsuki mumbled. She went all the way over there? It wasn't like Kirishima's work study was nearby. Ishirushi City was fucking out in Katsune. That was nice of her, Todoroki said. His head tipped over to the side, and he spoke like he was guessing his next words. Romantic? So romantic, Deku gushed. I was hoping that was the reason why she went all quiet. Katsuki blinked and slowly dragged his eyes over to look at him. That's what you meant? You figured out she was gonna go see him? I mean, I hoped, Deku said. It's like those grand gestures you see at movies, right? Gosh, I bet Kirishima was thrilled. He was still grinning as he pressed in closer so he could get a better look at the picture. Katsuki felt like his stomach was about to sink right through his shoes and disappear somewhere beneath the boards. Oh, her words are so cool, too. Ouch. Todoroki sucked in a low hissing breath through his teeth. Awkward, he mumbled. I'm just going to. He trailed off, dithering for a moment, and then struggled and walked away without finishing whatever the fuck he was trying to say. It didn't look like he even was going to pretend to wait for them either. He just grabbed his duffel bag and slipped out through the gym doors. Deku stared at him. Okay? He snorted a bit and slid a glance towards Katsuki, obviously expecting him to share his amusement. But his face smothered once he finally got a look at his face. Hey, what's wrong? Aren't you happy for them? He was actually happy, relieved, grateful Mina wasn't hurt or worse. The rest of it wasn't something he could wallow in. There was no point dreading it all up again. It was just a little shocking seeing a soulmate pair discover themselves without all being angst and drama. Sure, I'm happy, Katsuki said. He reached for Deku, drawing him in, looping his arms around his waist. Deku mirrored the movement, his chest pressed against Katsuki's. Happy I don't get to watch those two dumb asses pine after each other anymore. I'm sure they weren't that bad, Deku said. You sure you're okay? Katsuki nodded, leaning in to catch Deku's mouth in a soft, lingering sort of kiss. I'm fucking great, he said. He pulled back again. I've got you. A pink slash bloomed beneath Deku's freckles and springed across the bridge of his nose. The sight of it made Katsuki let out a low rumble of a laugh. Kachan! Deku winded, burying his face against the curve of Katsuki's neck, his arms tightening around him, and Katsuki snickered some more and Deku huffed, his breath warm and slightly damp as it ghosted over Katsuki's skin. You can't just say stuff like that. You have to warn me first. But that would take all the fun out of it, Katsuki donned. He was feeling far too pleased with himself, honestly. It was somehow calming just standing there with Deku, wrapped up in his arms. His stomach had returned from its tip to the basement and was settling back comfortably in place. Jerk, Deku grumbled. Yup. Your arms are gonna be dead weights tomorrow. Shit, don't fucking remind me. Pinky, image attached. Sorry if I scared you guys, exclamation mark. I had to come get my mans. Pikachu. Ah! Tape guy. Holy shit, oh my god. Pikachu. Ah! I'm gonna cry. I am so happy for you guys. Shitty hairs. I did cry, lol, for like an hour. Tape guy. Mina, shit. That was a journey to get out there. Pinky. I know. I tried waiting up, but my words took so long to show up. Fell asleep and had to scramble around this morning. Begged my mom to let me get a train ticket. Told work what was happening. Even called Tetsu to get Fat Gum's number. So he knew I was coming, then swore both of them to secrecy. Pikachu. You called Fat Gum? Pinky. Hell yes. I wasn't gonna come all the way out there for a day. I'm staying 3. He's cool. He was all for it. Gave me a room and shit. Heart. Bakugo. Damn. Tetsu lied right to your face. Shitty hair. Right? Pikachu. Balls of steel, that one. Tape. ... Bakugo. ... Pikachu. ... Lol, that was an accident. Bakugo. Kirishima. Shitty hair. Bakugo. Katsuki. Meant to say Katsuki. Bakugo. Congrats. Shitty hair. Oh, thanks, man. Smiley face. Pinky. Wow. Hi. Pikachu. Puff. Bakugo. Fuck. Fine. Congrats, Pinky. Pinky. Better? Bakugo. Do you care if Deku knows? Because, well, he knows. Shitty hair. Didn't expect you two to keep it from him, lol. Bakugo. Also, Icy Hot was fucking here. Pinky. It's fine, it's fine. Tape guy. God, I'm like emotional for you guys. My birthday was so boring. Pikachu. Excuse you, I took you out for milkshakes. Tape guy. You did, thank you. And I'm meeting up with Uraraka next weekend, so there's that. The not knowing, though. Pikachu. You'll survive. We'll survive. I'll be your soulmate in the meantime. Tape guy. My bromate. Pikachu. Your bromate. Bakugo. Fucking for reals. Pikachu. You got your own, Katsuki. Bakugo. I would never fucking call him my bromate. What the fuck? Tape guy. Boyfriend. Bakugo. Sure, that. Pikachu. Boyfriend. Think we lost the other two? Tape guy. Oh, I'm sure they're busy. Bakugo. Gross. Pikachu. LMAO, right, like you're not taking advantage of the bedrooms you've got at Endeavors. Tape guy. ... Pikachu. ... And he's gone. With as busy as they were, the week slipped by almost startlingly fast. August brought with it more thick, swampy heat, but at least that meant Katsuki's quirk was at peak performance levels. It also brought in some bored assholes who seemed to have nothing better to do over the summer break holiday than strip up shit. Being in the #1 hero's agency didn't really help either. There was always going to be bazillion types of villains who thought they could actually hold their own against him and wanted to test it out. Endeavor handled a lot of the bigger threats on his own, seemingly out of habit. His instincts really were next level, as anyone would expect from the best of the best, and he was seemingly to know exactly where to be when trouble started going down. It was always just as likely that whichever run-of-the-mill baddie he was fighting had potentially sought him out. It was frustrating as hell, but if Katsuki and the others showed up at the scene late, they weren't often left with much to do. Endeavor wasn't the sort to drag out his fights, just to make sure his sidekicks and prodigies had some action. That didn't mean there weren't plenty of times of less showy fights for them to get caught up in. Though, and this exactly what they were doing the first time their whole soulmate connection thing became sort of a problem. Half and half was with his dad for the day again, this time attending a family dinner. Katsuki and Deku had been invited to plenty of those by now, but they were sitting this one out. Nights without Todoroki were also nights that Katsuki liked to take advantage of, and they had tomorrow off, so he'd been thinking they'd actually go out somewhere for once. That had been their idea anyways, until they found themselves fighting some dickwad who had a quirk that allowed him to bring any kind of material shit to life and put it under his control. He turned an entire city block into a rise of fucking machines, and it was just one guy, but actually suddenly there were 20 cars that were lumbering around and crashing into things. And half the cars still had passengers in them, and Katsuki was pretty sure that he'd seen a line of toaster machines marching out a nearby appliance store, and the whole thing quickly became a huge pain in the ass. And then Deku decided to make it worse by bargeling into his side at one point, knocking him out of the way of a trunker truck that had just launched itself at him. And that Katsuki had seen coming. What the fuck? He just hesitated for half a second to work out what the hell to do because that was a full tank of some kind of fuel, so he couldn't just go hurling explosions at it like a fucking idiot. Deku taking an out-of-control truck directly to the chest sure hadn't been the fucking plan. Katsuki had been trying to keep tabs on him throughout the fight, but there was just so much shit going on. He could feel Deku fiddling around the edges of his mind, and having able to sense the occasional flares of All For One. Then he suddenly spotted a family inside one of the cars smashed around the side, and had to shift his focus to dealing with that. The next time he felt Deku again, it was when he was dozing into Katsuki and then getting slammed into the concrete by tons of rampage fucking trucks. "I'm sorry," was the first thing Deku blurted out when Katsuki was finally allowed to see him at the hospital. He was sitting up in bed, looking mostly okay aside from the bandages wrapped around his torso and the fact that his left arm was a goddamn slink. Katsuki stood next to his bed, unimpressed and pissed off, his own arms folded over his chest. He'd come out of the fight with a few scrapes and bruises, but other than that, he was fine. Luckily, Vernon had called up for backup by the time Deku had gotten himself crushed on the streets, and they've been able to subdue the villain and whop shit up pretty quickly after that. "I'm so sorry," Deku said again, while Katsuki silently fumed. He was bent at the waist, in the best apology bow he could manage while still being confined to a bed. "I swear, Kachan, I didn't think you couldn't handle it yourself, and I was just a self-sacrificing asshole, or whatever you called me before. It just happened. Just happened, my ass," Katsuki finally growled, and Deku straightened up a bit, peering at him from beneath the unruly hair that fell into his eyes. "What was the fucking plan there, Deku?" "There wasn't one," Deku admitted, meekly. "You just..." He glanced at Katsuki's arm, then, apparently by accident, if that way his gaze immediately snapped back to meet Katsuki's, was anything to go by. Oh, this motherfucker. Katsuki's teeth clenched. "Looked like I needed saving?" he bit out, and Deku winced. "No," he insists. "Not like... No, it's not that simple. The thing is..." He lifted his free hand, gesturing at the empty space beside his head. It was obviously that he was referring to. It's a lot, okay? It's very loud sometimes." "Loud?" Katsuki frowned. His arms loosened a bit, dipping lower and pulling him out of the standoffish stance. "I think danger sense doesn't help," Deku murmured. "It just magnifies everything. I'm not used to it working on someone other than me." He rubbed a hand across his chest, right over his breastbone. "I wasn't even near you. Not really, but it shot through my head like something was wrong, or could be wrong, and then it was like everything went tight and I couldn't breathe." He looked back at Katsuki, and the next thing I knew, I was knocking you out of the way. Katsuki was quiet for a moment, holding Deku's eyes. Then he sighed and moved to sit at the edge of the hospital bed. "I feel like we're gonna end up taking turns pulling shit like this, but we can't. We gotta do better." "I know. I refuse to be some kind of weakness for you, Deku." "That's stupid." Deku gave him a small smile. "You've always been the opposite." "You gotta learn to control it then." Katsuki leveled him with a heavy, warning kind of look. "Your first response can't be to throw yourself into fucking danger just to keep me out of it. I can fucking handle shit." Deku nodded. "I know you can, I didn't have time to think." "Make time," Katsuki demanded. "I'm not doing this shit for you our whole lives. Injuries are gonna fucking happen enough as it is." You don't have to make it worse by thinking the best course of action is if you take the hit instead of me, or anyone else. Something simmered in Deku's eyes. His cheeks rounded out in a pout, and was clearly trying to hold back. Sometimes there's no other choice, but most of the time there is. Katsuki reached out and grasped Deku's chin. His fingers curled up against the squishy of those stupid, pouty, freckled cheeks. You could have used Black Whip on me, or the truck. It still would have hit the damn pavement anyways. But the hell good did it do to make sure you were under it instead of me? Deku lifted his hands up, wrapping in gently around Katsuki's waist. Black Whip, he murmured. Shit. I'm saying, Katsuki arched his eyebrows. Stop thinking your body is the most expendable thing around, Deku. It's not. He gave Deku's chin a slight shake. I've got fucking plans for it, okay? That finally drew a soft huff of a laugh out of the other boy. Okay, he said, nodding again. His eyes had gone all wet, but at least he wasn't actually crying. He pulled Katsuki's hands away from his face so he could squeeze it with his own instead, and leaned forward to press his forehead against Katsuki's shoulders. Each time I think I've improved, something happens and I realize all over again how much more I still need to learn. Yeah, dumbass, that's why we're still students. I'm glad you're not hurt, though. What, you think I couldn't handle a few broken ribs? I know you could, Deku said quietly. I know how strong you are, Kachan. I know you can handle anything that gets thrown at you, and I know I can rely on you, off and on the field. He shifted around and Katsuki moved with him, scooting closer so that Deku could rest against him. His head pillowed on Katsuki's collarbone as he idly traced with his fingers along Katsuki's inner forearm and traced over the words spelling out there. I've never once thought you weren't gonna be the best. We're going to be the best, Katsuki corrected him. We're partners. We're gonna be the best damn hero duo the world has ever seen. He paused for a moment, then continued. So, we're gonna take control of this shit, right? It's an advantage, not a fucking handicap. Deku made an improvable sound, his head throbbing in agreement. Right. Katsuki could tell he meant it. He could see it in the determined glint of his eyes when Deku tipped his face up to look at him, and something inside his chest eased in relief. Good, he said, and he bent down to kiss him, so fiercely that Deku could only blink at him in bewilderment. His face bright pink when Katsuki pulled back again. Don't fucking scare me like that, you asshole. Deku's eyes went wide. Sorry, he whispered. He seemed damn near in awe for some reason, and Katsuki humbled. Anyways, trying to be my damn hero, stupid nerd. Well, Deku grinned and leaned in to kiss him again, softer this time. Just a gentle press on the lips that somehow still sent a rush down Katsuki's spine and made a burst of warmth flood onwards from his belly, igniting everything from the tips of his ears down to his toes. It's only fair. You're already mine. Ha! Fuck. Katsuki exhaled a shuddery breath and clammed down the urge to, fucking swoon or some shit. His nerd was such a goddamn sap. Yeah, shut up. He knew he was too. Okay, I really want to see the toasters. I wish there was a small animation of the marching toasters. The marching sentient toasters. Alright. That was such a cute little hospital moment of them talking about the whole, they're gonna be the best duo, right? And it's yeah, I feel like they are. They're gonna be the best hero duo there were ever and will ever be. I'm also very much upset that the fanfic is almost ending. I literally only have one chapter left. As much as I'm happy to start the next one, it's ugh, no, it's ending! I didn't even... Okay, when I read the last chapter, yesterday's chapter, which was literally just an hour ago. Actually 2 hours ago. It takes me 2 hours to record these ones specifically. I was low-key I wasn't upset, but now I am upset because I want more and I'm not gonna get more. I loved how these, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the author's, anything else they've written and see if I could Podfic any of that, because I love their writing style, specifically their dialogue. Ugh, their dialogue is so good. It tickles my brain. It tickles my brain. Okay, on to the next Podfic series hint. All right, you're gonna get a hint at 3 of the characters, the three main characters. A zombie. Don't take this literally. The zombie part, just don't take it literally. I'm saying zombie because it's absolutely hilarious, because he most definitely is a zombie, because he can't die. You could chop his head off and he'll just freaking come back. It'll just regenerate. Spider. Take that literally. Well, not literally, but take that literally. And a ghost. Again, the ghost one, literally a ghost. Quite legitimately, one of the main characters is a ghost. Another is a spider, and another one may as well be a dead zombie, or an undead zombie. But yeah, I cannot wait to see you next week when I announce what it's gonna be, and then when I start the new series. As always, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, have a wonderful day or night. Join our community Discord server, link is in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.